movement, giving concrete solutions to concrete issues that are facing our people. So thank you for being a part of the live broadcast today. I most certainly want to give you a snapshot of what we are focused on, why we're doing what we're doing, and most importantly, why you need to be a part of it, or why we want you to be a part of it. My name is Tamani Mwandani. I am a contributing member to the Black Gold Nation movement. Our ultimate goal is to establish Black communities worldwide that are physically safe and that we can own and or control. Our goal is to establish communities that have influence, value, and power. And we want to do that because of the things that are happening to us and against us in this country and indeed around the world. Whenever I do a live broadcast, I am not just here for clicks. I'm not here to increase my friends list. I'm not here to try and get paid from YouTube or anybody else. My efforts are to find the right Black people who are ready, willing, and able to do something so that we can push back against the threats that are threatening our lives, the lives of our children, and every generation of Black child to follow. I consider, of course, these live broadcasts that I do to be very serious. I don't have a lot of time to waste time, and I most certainly don't want to waste yours. I am the direct revolutionary product of the Cardinal Mbayu Chewy out of the Shrines of the Black Madonna, and an indirect product of the Father of Liberation Theology, Reverend Albert B. Clegg, or as we called him in the shrine in the church, his African name, title Jeramogi, African name Abebe Ajiman, Jeramogi Abebe Ajiman. So I want to start this morning's live broadcast. And if you haven't heard my broadcast before, I try to keep them to 25 minutes. And that is becoming increasingly difficult as I give a brief snapshot of what it means to be Black in America. And that list is getting longer. So most of the live broadcast is me trying to give those that are listening a snapshot of what we're up against in this country and around the world to serve as evidence that I'm not just talking, I'm not just here. These things are in my imagination or a part of my imagination. I'm telling you about very serious things that are happening to and against Black people, people of color, melanated people, not only in America, but around the world. And of course, my hope is that as you become more aware, if you're not already aware of these things that are happening, you will join us, the Black Gold Nation movement, in doing something about these things, because nobody is coming to save us. No one is going to do it for us. No one is going to give a Black nonprofit money that they need to rival someone else's power. Power is never given. Power is never shared. Power is always taken, and power only respects power. We most certainly have power that we can tap into, but what is preventing us from doing so is our non-connectivity and our lack of organization. So as a movement, as an international movement, we want to fix those two issues that we have, our connectivity and our organization, so that we can move forward in a unified fashion. When I make a post on Facebook, I try to do that every day, Monday through Friday, well, actually 7 days a week. I try to make some sort of post that a Black person has said in the past about Black life in America, some things that we need to do, some things we need to pay attention to, reasons why things have happened. And when I go live, I try to do it Monday, Wednesday, and Friday as my schedule will allow. I want to further explain that quote that I posted that morning, and then tie it into a very real life message for our people, again, both here in America and around the world. So this morning's quote was from Brother Eldridge Cleaver, who was a leader in the Black Panther Party for self-defense. Brother Eldridge says, "You either a part of the solution or you a part of the problem." Again, Brother Eldridge Cleaver says, you either a part of the solution or a part of the problem. The title of today's live broadcast is "The Assassination of Joshua Brown, Donald Trump's Civil War Warning, and Tyler Perry's Example of What's Needed and Possible." So that is the quote. That is the title for the live broadcast. Now let me give you a brief snapshot of what it means to be Black in America, what we're up against, what we are facing in this country, and how serious and real the threats are to our survival, our livelihood, and of course the survival and livelihood of our children. I've categorized them to try and make it easier to better understand what we're facing and what we're up against. And I like to break it down that way. So the Black reality in 2019, the Black family, 50% of our households, Black households are worth less than $1. our children, black children that live or exist in and around America's inner cities, because of the levels of physical, mental, and spiritual violence and trauma that exists in these locations. A major study has shown that some 46.5% of our children, black children, suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder, a condition that's normally found in some 11 to 20% of combat veterans. Our children are exhibiting symptoms of combat stress and trauma in America's inner cities, which affects their ability to learn, build relationships, makes them more susceptible to depression and drug use. Our children that live and exist in and around America's inner cities are suffering from psychological conditions that are often found in combat veterans at twice the rate. That is what it means to be black in America in 2019. That's what we're up against, and that's what we're facing. That's what we black people have to fix, because nobody is coming to fix it for us, and no one is going to give us what we need to fix that, because nobody cares about black people and black children other than black people, the right black people, because sadly, not even our own people care about our own people. As of February 2017, every state in this country was investing more in juvenile prisons than schools. A school to prison pipeline we have to deal with that is alive and well and highly functional. We have to deal with an educational system that has never properly educated our parents, ourselves, and the current generation of black child to follow, nor will it ever properly educate our people, because that's not why it's there. We have more African-American brothers in prison in the United States than all women incarcerated worldwide, globally, which of course has had a significant effect on our communities, as there are more and more an increased shortage of brothers in our communities, and that has had a direct effect on the strength of our relationships, the strength of our families, and the strength of our communities as a whole. We have to deal with a multi-billion-dollar prison industrial complex that you can buy stock in. The black ownership category, black farmers are still being discriminated against in 2019. Federal judges ruled that the USDA has systematically denied black and Native American farmers loans and disaster payments. Over the past century, black farmers have lost 80% of their land, now only owning some 5% of 2 million farms in America. The author of the report has observed that farmers of color were disproportionately affected by obstacles in transferring land ownership from generation to generation, often resulting in land loss. We have lost, as a people, millions of acres of land, and we did not lose that ownership because of our incompetence and or our need to farm the land. We lost that because we are up against an American system that's always been anti-black, always been against us, and will steal from us, as they have been doing since we've been here for the past 400 years. The next category, the threats and predation of our environment. The USDA, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, via the usage of GMOs, genetically modified organisms, is seeking to replace how natural and organic foods are grown to control the food we consume globally. If they can control the food that's grown globally, and they have proven themselves to poison the food of other people to control those persons, then should we not be concerned about them poisoning our food and or giving us food that is not healthy and or good for us? Again, I'm giving you a snapshot of what it means to be black in America in 2019, what we're up against, and what we need to do as a collective group to push back against all of these threats, which are very real. Food deserts, which is defined as an area that has limited access to affordable and nutritious food, exists in almost every predominantly black community in this country. Purge activity, which is defined as assassinations, murders, kidnappings, organ and sex trafficking, crimes committed in black masks and skins by white people, is happening in every black community, major black community in this country nationwide. Again, as I said initially in my introduction, brother Joshua Brown, who was a key witness in the Botham Jean murder case, has been assassinated. Shot, I think, once in the throat and twice in the chest, if I'm not mistaken. This brother was a former athlete turned entrepreneur, did not have the kind of life that would exhibit him being assassinated. And of course, he was worried about his personal safety. And it seems that the brother was right to be in fear of his life because he's now been assassinated. But don't get it twisted. That is not strange when it comes to strong black men or black men trying to stand up. Being assassinated, exiled, and or incarcerated by this government is what it means to be black in America. At least 6 Black Lives Matter activists from Ferguson, Missouri have also been found dead. But again, that's not a new trend when it comes to black men in America and those that try to stand up and do something. The Portland police digitally removed tattoos from a black man's face and make him look like a suspect so that he will be identified as a suspect and he's been incarcerated. We have to deal with a criminal justice system that's always been unjust, a bail bond system that's always been unfair and unjust. We have to deal with redlining, gerrymandering, and gentrification, which is political power working against us, not for us. So if anyone tells you that political power doesn't matter or that voting doesn't matter, especially on a local level, they have no idea what they're talking about. So you should not listen to that person as it relates to politics. Over the past decade, the annual estimates of the number of gangs in the U.S. is approximately 27,000. There's a problem for us because we have to not only deal with people that don't look like us coming into our communities, preying upon our people, but we have to deal with our own people who do look like us, preying upon our people, terrorizing our people, and oppressing our people. That's a problem for us that only we can deal with because, again, nobody's coming to save Black people. 90 to 95% of the top rap songs of 2019 promote materialism, drug use, misogyny, murdering Black men, self-hate, a false sense a false sense and negation of reality, a slave culture understanding and promotion of success, and a self-destructive, niggerized culture of mental, physical, spiritual, and psychological slavery. That is what the top rap songs of 2019 to date are promoting. And of course, our children, the millennials, that generation that's supposed to be up next as it relates to Black leadership, that's what they are listening to. And that music is obviously affecting what they do and how they do it. There's a problem for us. It's been 5 years since Flint, Michigan has had safe water to drink, bathe in, and use. The next category, our livelihood and future. Automation, artificial intelligence, and machine language is replacing millions of jobs. The White House has just removed 3 million people from the food stamp rolls. And of course, there are more white people on food stamps than Black people. But that does not mean a large number of our people won't be affected by this removal. We have to deal with over 900 white supremacist organizations in existence right now in America, many of whom are training for a race war. There have been 324. The last time I did a live broadcast, it was 305. As of right now, there have been 324 mass shootings in America since the beginning of the year. And that number is going to increase. The Department of Homeland Security in a recent study has found that state and local law enforcement agencies nationwide have been infiltrated with neo-Nazi members, and they've started secret terrorist cells developed to terrorize Black and Latino residents. Again, I'm giving you a snapshot of what it means to be Black in America in 2019 moving forward. The Donald Trump administration under Jeff Sessions has reinstituted the privatizing of federal prisons, which means there's a profit motive. Under President Trump, the FBI's official counterterrorism priorities have included, quote, Black identity extremists, anti-authority extremists, and animal rights environmental extremists. The most violent group in this country that have committed more terrorist acts in this country since 9/11 have been white identity extremists, but the U.S. government has never aggressively pursued these persons who have exhibited physical acts of terror on other groups of people. We have to ask ourselves, why is that, and what does that mean for us? The Donald Trump administration has refused to label and pursue domestic terrorism by white identity extremists on the same level as foreign terrorists. Approximately 25.4% of the American population in the United States identify themselves as evangelical Christians. And over 25% of that number, some 20 million people, support Donald Trump. We have to keep that in mind, that Donald Trump is only one person. But when that one person is supported by millions, and that one person's ideologies are racist, misogynistic, bigoted, that person has been found to be a liar, a failure when it comes to business, and he is supported by millions of people, that is a problem for those persons that he may not be fans of, which of course includes us, Black people. Donald Trump has just recently retweeted last week. Donald Trump, the president of the United States, retweeted a quote from a right-wing pastor stating, quote, if the Democrats are successful in removing their president from office, it will cause a civil war-like fracture in this nation from which our country will never heal, excuse me. And groups like the Oath Keepers and the 3 Percenters, which are armed militia groups, they responded to the president's retweet with supporting statements such as this one I'm about to read to you. Quote, all you have to do, they're talking to the president, quote, all you have to do is come out on Twitter or national media and call us to arms. And we will show the world once again that America has the largest freestanding army with weapons and firepower that they can't even begin to fathom. You will have an army at your side at a moment's notice, Mr. President. All you have to do is say the word. So we have the president of the United States retweeting from a right-wing pastor, if I am removed, there is going to be a civil war type fracture in this country. You have right-wing extremists armed militias saying that all you have to do, Mr. President, is give the word and we will do what we need to do. That is a problem for us because we have not been training as a group, as a unified body, to push back against any physical threat that comes against our people and or our communities. Again, I'm giving you a snapshot of what it means to be Black in America, what we're up against, and why we absolutely must come together as rapidly as possible to do something to put ourselves in a position to win. We have to deal with over 100 conservative think tanks focused on maintaining white supremacy and power. The Donald Trump administration Citizenship and Immigration Services Department is seeking to change the language on the Statue of Liberty from, quote, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, to language that translates to give me your tired and your poor who can stand on their own 2 feet, who will not become a public charge. America is changing, and those changes are not pro-Black. We have to understand what's going on, how it's going on, why it's going on, and what we need to do to push back against all of it if we don't want to become a permanent underclass in this country. The Department of Justice has proven that cities like Baltimore and Chicago, major cities, have, quote, engaged in a pattern and practice of conduct that violates our First, Fourth, and 14th Amendments. The First Amendment deals with the freedom of religion, speech, and the press, and the right to petition your government. The Fourth Amendment deals with protection from unlawful search and seizures. The 14th Amendment allows for citizenship and equal and legal rights to African Americans and slaves after the emancipation, after the American Civil War. A court just ruled that DeRay McKesson, one of the leaders of the Black Lives Matter movement, has, quote, no First Amendment defense in the Baton Rouge protest. So it's not just that a study has found that President Donald Trump's cabinet is changing our amendment rights and the laws in this country. We now have evidence of those changes taking effect and affecting the lives of real people. And lastly, the Donald Trump administration has repealed civil rights protections all across the country in HUD and Commerce and many other governmental agencies and entities. I've just given you a snapshot of what it means to be Black in America. That snapshot means it's not everything. That snapshot means it's not an exhaustive or complete list. I'm trying to give you an understanding of what we're up against, what we're facing, and why we need to come together and do something for ourselves in some serious, real, concrete fashion. Everything that I said can be researched. Everything that I said can be proven. Do not take my word for it because I'm just one brother. If you think I'm making it up, research it yourself. If you want a list of what I just read to you, respond in the thread and I will send it to you. And you can do your own research, but everything is there. And again, that is a snapshot. So what does that snapshot mean? Going back to this morning's post and the title of today's live broadcast, Brother Eldridge Cleaver, one of the members, one of the leaders in the Black Panther Party of Self-Defense, he says you're either a part of the problem or you're part of the solution. You're either a part of the solution or you're a part of the problem. That's what Brother Eldridge Cleaver said in the 60s. And the title of today's live broadcast is The Assassination of Joshua Brown, Donald Trump's Civil War Warning, and Tyler Perry's example of what's needed and what's possible. I told you that Brother Joshua Brown, who was a key witness in the murder of Brother Botham Jean, he's been found dead, assassinated, murdered. Neighbors heard gunshots, went out to see what was going on, and found the brother dead. He was already worried about his physical safety, and he had already been threatened. There was another sister who was also a key witness. She was threatened, lost her job as what looks to be retaliation and or pushback from those that seem to be in support of the law enforcement community. Again, that is nothing strange. That is nothing new. When I read the snapshot to you, I said that there are also at least 6 Black Lives Matter leaders who have been found to be dead from Ferguson, Missouri. The assassination, incarceration, and or exile of Black leaders is nothing new in this country. That's what it means to be Black in this country. So we have to look at the assassination of Brother Joshua Brown as, again, more handwriting on the wall, more evidence, more truth of what it means to be Black in America. You have the President of the United States, again, a man who has proven himself to be a misogynist, to be a bigot, to be a racist, to be a liar, to be a failed business person, retweeting a quote from a conservative right-wing pastor that says, if I am impeached, there's going to be a civil rights type fracture in this country that we will never recover from. And then you have right-wing armed militias responding to that tweet by saying, Mr. President, all you have to do is give us the word and we will act. That's a problem for us. It's a problem for us because we're not ready for any sort of physical move against our people in this country. It's a problem for us because we're not organized in this country. It's a problem for us because we're not fully aware of our reality in this country. Black people are born into a war that we didn't start. We're surrounded on every front. We have to educate our people to the fact that we're in a war and we're 200 plus years behind on preparing for a war. We're in a bad spot. We're at the top of every bad list and at the bottom of every good list. That is not going to change if we don't change it. I gave you a snapshot, a brief list of what it means to be Black in America. I'm trying to let my people know that we got problems in this country. I'm trying to let my people know that we have enemies in this country. I'm trying to let you know that there are predators that exist in and around every Black community in this country. And those predators aren't just white people. There are over 27,000 gangs in the United States. And most of them prey on their own people. Most of them prey on people that look like them. And of course, there are Black gangs that are terrorizing the Black community. So we have to deal with enemies without and enemies within. What are we going to do? In the Black Gold Nation movement, we're about solutions. We don't want to just pontificate about what could be, what should be, what we need to be doing, what other people need to be doing, how white people need to stop this. We were brought here to work. No other reason. Since the first documented slave was brought here in 1619, we've never been treated with respect and or as equals in this country, and we never will be. Until we have the power to demand it, until we have the power to ensure that other people pay for harming the Black mind, body, spirit, and psyche. We do have that power. We're just not organized and connected in the fashion that will allow us to use it. Now, if you ever heard any of my live broadcasts, you heard me talk about the movie Black Panther, and you've heard me talk about the money that we give the Black church. The movie Black Panther, a movie that most of us saw multiple times, most of us loved. I saw it, I loved it. I now have the DVD that I bought from Redbox. Great movie. If nothing else, it was entertaining. That movie made over $1 billion in 1 month. Billion with a B. They made $1 billion the second month. I'm not sure about the second month, but the first month, conservative estimates are that from that first billion, Black people, melanated people worldwide gave 75 to 80% of $1 billion in 1 month to a movie. Marvel and Disney Studios made over $750 to $800 million from Black people for a movie. We have money. We're just not organized and connected in the fashion that will allow us to use that money to move our people forward and protect our people from what's happening and what's coming in America. Black people, conservatively speaking, give the Black church every week $250 million on average, every week. That's over $1 billion a month. The issue is not what our people are doing with that money, giving it to the Black church. Our issue is not us spending discretionary income, discretionary money to go to the movies. I love going to the movies as a night out. The issue is, what can we do for ourselves with that money if we were organized and connected in the fashion that was trying to protect our people, protect our children, protect our elders, our women, and our brothers. With over $500 million, that's 75% of the money that we gave the movie Black Panther. That's half of the money that we give the Black church every single month. What could we do with that money if it's flowing through an organization that's only focused on Black people, Black power, and Black children? How many schools could we build? How many hospitals could we build? How many HBCUs could we save? How many new private HBCUs could we start? How many black people could we train, then equip to protect the black community? How many teachers could we employ? How many of those businesses that exist in every black community in the country that are low-hanging economic fruit, how many of them could we take over and put black people in the controlling in the driver's seat and have a controlling interest in these businesses, so that we black people and black children could benefit from the economics of every black community in this country? Other people aren't coming from other countries to America, to the black community, to open businesses because they like us, because they want to give us good products and good services. They're doing it because they know we have money and we're not opening our own businesses. We need to reverse that. I do not fault them, other people, for taking advantage of an opportunity. I fault us for even allowing the opportunity to exist. These business owners have to be removed from our communities because we need that revenue. We need those profits, because that brief snapshot that I just read to you is real. Every single thing on that list is real. We have to deal with over 900 anti-black, white supremacist organizations, many of whom are training for a race war. There have been 391 mass shootings. I think that's right. There's been over 300 mass shootings, all done by white people in this country since the beginning of the year, and there's going to be more. The president is saying that if I'm removed, there's going to be a civil war type fracture in this country. And you have right-wing militias responding to the president saying, give us the word, Mr. President. We're in a bad spot. We have to get serious about protecting ourselves from this bad spot that we were born into. We have to get serious about organizing ourselves to push back against this bad spot that we're born into. Brother Joshua Brown, who was a key witness in the Botham Jean case, has been assassinated. The president of the United States is preparing people for a civil war. Right-wing identity extremists, many of whom are doing these mass shootings, are telling the president, give us the word. What are we going to do to push back against these very serious threats that are happening right now today in America? I was sent a video this morning of Brother Tyler Perry. Apparently he is just, I'm not sure if he opened or if he expanded. I'm assuming it's new since the video just went out. The brother has built his own movie studio. If you haven't seen the video, I'll send it to you. Absolutely phenomenal job. It's a wonderful thing to see a black person being successful in that way. I like to give concrete examples of what's possible when we come together as a group, as a people, to do something for ourselves. As I did on my last broadcast of what Brother LeBron James did with the NCAA's rule, with getting the governor of California to come to his show, sign a bill that's going to put athletes in a position to make money off their likeness. Brother Tyler Perry, and I said this, I gave what I'm about to say now. I said this almost 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, when I was just getting this started, the Black Gold Nation movement. I actually toured a women's shelter here in the greater Houston area, drove around, used video. I toured it and I was videotaping, showing what's possible. Talked about my own background as having lived in such a community. It wasn't that large, but it was the same kind of community that was only controlled by a group that had a different message, a different mission. Brother Tyler Perry has given yet another example of what's possible if we decide to make something happen. He has built an absolutely wonderful studio for his business. And he's, of course, in the movie business. We have to be in the business of saving Black lives. We have to be in the business of saving the lives of our children. We have to be in the business of protecting our women and our elders and our brothers. And that business can be a lucrative business if we're serious about making it happen. If you have not seen the video, Google it. I'm sure it's out there on YouTube somewhere. And if you can't find it, let me know and I'll send it to you. We have to build our own communities or take over some communities where our people are the dominant number. America has proven that she is dangerous to us. America has proven that she is anti-Black. America has proven that she doesn't care about the Black mind, body, spirit, and psyche. So what are we going to do? Are we going to continue to look to America to give us what we need, or are we going to read the handwriting on the wall? When we look to our murderer for murdering us and then demanding justice, that highlights our psychosis. When we look to the kidnapper for kidnapping us and demanding justice, that highlights our psychosis. When we look to the pedophile for raping our children and demanding justice, that highlights our psychosis. We are most certainly a psychologically sick people. We've been damaged by this American government on purpose. We are the only group on this planet that work against our own best interests. But we're also the only group that's ever gone through the worst form of slavery ever inflicted on one group by another. And we have had, if you were to count up every single thing that we've gone through, including slavery, it would be over 3,000 years of anti-Black acts of terror, oppression, subjugation, and a war against our humanity. No one has gone through what we've gone through, which is why no one acts like we act. We've been conditioned to act a certain way. So if we're going to reverse that conditioning, because it was a system that conditioned us to be the way that we are. If we're going to reverse that, we absolutely must have our own system that we put in place that puts the Black first, the Black mind, body, spirit, and psyche first, with our children at the center of it. We lack nothing in making that happen. We do not lack the intellectual capacity. We don't lack the economic capacity. We don't lack the physical capacity, and we sure as hell don't lack the spiritual capacity. What we lack primarily are two things: connectivity and organization. Again, Brother Tyler Perry has given us given us further evidence of he is one man that had a vision, a dream, a goal, built a company, and now has his own movie studio. I applaud the efforts of any Black person who is successful in America. We need to use his example of what we can accomplish. From my own personal experience, having lived in a community that was 100% owned and controlled by Black people, I know what's possible because I've lived it. I know it's possible because my children were raised in that kind of environment. Can you imagine a Black community that has no need to call the police? I've lived that life. I know it's possible. Can you imagine a Black community that owns the economics of its community? Can you imagine the Black community that has its own security force so they secure themselves and police themselves? Can you imagine a Black community that has its own institutions to do its own thing and does that? Can you imagine a Black community that has systems in place to reverse the psychological conditioning of our people? All of that is possible. In the Black Gold Nation movement, we started out with the understanding that we absolutely must build a nation within this nation and put our people in a position to win. If we're going to do that, we got to have Black people that are serious. If we're going to do that, we got to have leadership that understands the landscape, understands that brief snapshot, and is ready, willing, and able to do something. If we're going to do that, we have to have people that understand the importance of having Black people connected globally so that we, as the dominant number on this planet, can do what we need to do as one unified body as much as possible. It's never been everybody. It's never going to be everybody, and that's okay because we don't want everybody and we don't need everybody. We need a critical mass that's serious about doing something and that wants to see our people win. The president of the United States is warning about a civil war. We have conservative militias, armed militias in this country, many of whom who have been training for a race war, saying to the president, Mr. President, just give us the call. That's what it means to be Black in America in 2019. Our communities look like third world countries. The educational system has never been for us, so we've never been properly educated. The economics of our communities are ran by other people. The institutions in our communities are ran by other people. We do not own or control the environment in our communities, which is why they look the way they look. If we're going to win, we have to change all of that. And of course, the Black Gold Nation movement, that is our purpose. That is our goal. That's why we were started. If we're going to get that Black Panther money from our people, we have to be able to connect with our people. If we're going to get our people to give us a portion of that Black church money, we have to connect with our people. Every single thing we do in this organization is an attempt to find the right Black people to bring them to a movement that's going to help us win. We have two events going on right now designed to do just that. The first one is the Black Gold Nations Black Church and Black Organization Survival Summit. Focus on those things that are jeopardizing our survival, and then giving concrete solutions to let our people know that we do have answers. We simply need you to be a part of those answers so that we can move. Our national rollout of those plans are December 7th of this year, which is the first Saturday in December. What we're doing to build up to that is a new event that we're launching called the Alliance. The Alliance is us trying to connect with every barbershop and every beauty salon in America, because our people get their haircuts. I just got a new one, fresh one, last Saturday from my barber, who is a wonderful brother Terry Rose in Houston, Texas. Platinum cuts on Griggs Avenue. We need to connect with every barbershop in this country and every beauty salon. Why? Because barbershops and beauty salons outnumber the churches. There's a black church on every corner, almost every corner in the black community. Sadly, Jesus has become an industry. All of our churches aren't doing what they need to be doing to protect the people. We know that. All of our churches aren't doing what they're doing to make the people better. We know that. But some of our churches are trying to do the right thing. Some of our churches are trying to do the best thing. We need to connect ourselves with those churches and other institutions that can help us move our people forward. There are there are over 85,000 black churches in this country. 85,000. There are at least twice as many, if not 3 times as many, barbershops and beauty salons. What if we could connect with over 100,000 black businesses, and we had them host in their barbershops, in their beauty salons, a one-night event whereby we could do a presentation to connect with our people? What if each one of those barbershops and our beauty salons got 3, 4, 5 sisters or brothers to sit for an hour-long presentation talking about that snapshot of what it means to be black in America, talking about our history in America, and then giving concrete solutions as to how we can push back against all of it? Don't get it twisted. If we black people don't do something to push back against the very real threats that we're facing in America, we're going to continue to lose, and we are losing. Again, we're at the top of every bad list and at the bottom of every good list. Ain't nobody coming to save black people. No one is going to give you money for your nonprofit to build power to rival their power. It doesn't work that way. You're going to be given money for your nonprofit because you're not seen as a threat to anything. And that's not to say that we don't have nonprofits that are trying to do some good things. I like to believe that every nonprofit is trying to do something that's good, but that one thing that the nonprofits are trying to do isn't enough. I don't care if you're trying to feed black children. That's wonderful, but it's not enough. I don't care if you're trying to educate black people. That's great, but it's not enough. I don't care if you're trying to take care of black women. That is great, but it's not enough. We need to be connected and organized on a global level because we're dealing with a global threat. If whatever you're doing is not connected to a larger movement that's going to shore up your weaknesses because they're covering all the fronts and it's going to protect you from an anti-black society, you're going to lose. We can't afford to continue losing. Again, the president of the United States is warning of a civil war, a race war, a political war. And we have groups that have been training for a race war answering the call. Mr. President, just give us the word. There have been, I don't want to be wrong, let me get it right. There have been, let me find it, 324 mass shootings to date in this country. The last time I gave a live broadcast, last week, it was 305. The one before that, it was 291. The mass shootings are going to increase. Who's doing the mass shootings? It ain't us. Who's answering the president's call? It ain't us. Who's been training for a race war for years? It ain't us. Who's creating purge activity type activity in this country? Assassinations, kidnappings, black women and children found with their organs missing, sex trafficking, crimes being committed by white people in black skin. Who's doing those things? It ain't us. Who's dropping off weapons in the black community? And because of our psychological sickness, we're using the weapons to kill each other. We're doing the killing, but we're not making the weapons. Who's doing it? What's most important is not who's doing it. What's most important is what are we going to do to stop it? There is nothing that can stop us when we decide not to be stopped. And what we're saying in the Black Gold Nation movement is that we're trying to find Black people who are ready, willing, and able to do something. We have leadership in this organization that knows what to do on multiple levels. They have expertise and skill sets in their area on multiple levels. They have solutions, proven solutions to roll out to Black people globally on multiple levels. We simply need you, Black person, to be a part of what we're already doing. There are a lot of Black people trying to do a lot of good things to help Black people. I see no one doing it the way we're doing it. We need allies. So anyone who's out there trying to do something for Black people, we want them to be with us because we need their support. But nobody's moving like we're moving. No one has the leadership strategy a program that we have that's not religious. We're not a religious organization. We're not a nonprofit. We don't do religion. We do spirituality. And we're not trying to get somebody to donate money to us so that we can do a good thing. We want all of our support to come from Black people because that's the only way it's going to work. Black people have to support a movement that's about building power for Black people. Otherwise, it's not going to work. And again, given the two examples I've given of the movie The Black Panther and The Black Church, we got the money. The largest private military in the world, which was once called Blackwater, they've changed their name, but they were for sale last year for $1 billion. The largest private military in the world was for sale last year for $1 billion. We gave the movie Black Panther $500 million in 1 month. Black people on average give the Black church $1 billion a month. What do our communities look like? Do our communities reflect that kind of investment? No. We could have bought, if we were organized and connected, we could have bought the largest private military in the world last year. We might change a few things internally to make sure we got the right people in that organization. But what could we do as owners of the private military in the world? End police violence overnight. End police brutality overnight. Remove the physical threats of gangs in our communities overnight. Again, I have lived in a community where I saw in 20 years one police officer on the property, and that's because we called them. Because we had our own security. Because we were a group of Black people that were trying to do the same thing on the same page. And that don't mean that we don't have problems. We didn't have problems, didn't have issues, but we had a clearly defined chain of command. We had our own rules of law. We had a mission that everybody bought into. So when we had a problem, we dealt with it as a unified people. And we protected our people when other people tried to harm our people by jumping the fence, trying to break into property. We dealt with the threat. And oftentimes, more often than not, we would invite the threat after we dealt with it to church because we were trying to change our people because we love Black people. But we also understand the psychology of a people who have been raped and assaulted for 400 years. We will never win if we're not implementing the solution so that we can win. We have serious problems in America. We have serious threats in America. We have predators that exist in and around every Black community in this country, and those predators come in all shapes, sizes, and colors, and organizational size. As Dr. John Henry Clark says, you have no friends. If you want a friend, look in the mirror. As the founder of the Shrines of the Black Madonna says, if it's good for Black people, it is righteous and of God. And if it is not good of Black people, it is evil and of Satan. What we're trying to do is to make the least of those better, stronger, protected, connected, and moving in a unified fashion, something that I see no one else doing. We're not concerned with your religious beliefs. We're not concerned with how you vote politically. We're not concerned with who you love, who you marry, how you marry, what your religion is, how much money you make, how many degrees you have, if you have a degree. All of those things are important to an extent, but none of them are more important than our ability, our need, our desire to be physically safe, and our need and desire to own and control our environment. Because if we don't own and control it, other people will, and we'll continue to get what we're getting. We are trying to gather the tribes of Black people, and the tribes meaning your background, wherever you might come from, so that we can build something for ourselves. We have to implement a 100-year plan that's going to put us in a position to win because nobody else is doing it. the Black Gold Nations Barber and Beauty Shop Alliance is us trying to put our people in a position to understand the landscape, put our people in a position to learn about the solution, and then have them be a part of the solution. The quote from Brother Eldridge Cleaver says that you are a part of the solution or a part of the problem. There is no Black person in this country that doesn't frequent a barbershop or a beauty salon. Many of us don't go to church because we have issues with the church which are understandable. But there is no Black person in this country who doesn't go to a barbershop or a beauty salon, which means what? This effort to galvanize Black energy and Black intelligence and Black physical labor and Black economic opportunity, Black educational talent, this event can touch all of us. I understand it won't be everybody. I understand it's never been, nor will it ever be everybody. But this event can have us reaching out to hundreds of thousands, if not millions of Black people. If we can reach out to and connect with hundreds of thousands or millions of Black people about a proven solution to build Black power in this country, and then we get all of those persons to give a small amount of time and money, then there's nothing that can stop us. I'm going to give you a concrete example of what's possible, and then I'm going to answer any questions. If there are any, then I'm going to close this out. There's nothing stopping us but us. One example of how we could not be stopped. I am one person that loves Black people. I am one person that cares about Black people, and I am one person that wants to see Black people win. If I go out and find another Black person who believes the same thing, that wants the same thing, that's 2 Black people. If the two of us go out and find 2 more Black people, that's 4. If the 4 of us go out and find 4 more, that's 8. If the 8 of us go out and find 8 more, that's 16. If the 16 of us go out and find 16 more, that's 32. If that 32 goes out and find 32 more, that's 64. If we do that, one Black person who loves Black people and wants to see us win goes out and find another Black person who wants the same thing. If we do that, one getting one, in 28 days, at the end of that 28th day, if all of us gave $4, we'd have over $513 million per month. The same amount of money that we gave to the movie Black Panther. That's one example of what we could do today, right now, to put systems in place to protect our children. That's one example. There are many. That's just one. If we took 10% of that number, one getting one for 28 days, if we took 10% of that total number and asked all of those persons to give 5 minutes per day, we'd have over 1 million hours per day to put towards something, to do something for our people. There is nothing that can stop us once we decide to not be stopped. I take that back. There are only 2 things that can stop us. A higher power, God, if you will. But I believe that a higher power is always on our side because the universe is a righteous power. The universe could stop us. That's not going to happen. We could stop us by not doing it. That does not have to happen. If enough of us decide not to be stopped, it's checkmate, game over. The Black Gold Nation movement has a plan to put us in a position to win. A proven plan because every person in leadership has experience doing what we need them to do on multiple levels and multiple avenues. If we Black people in America don't do something, then we Black people in America are going to lose. And I believe if we Black people in America, if we lose, if we become a permanent underclass because of our opportunities here, because of our freedoms here, it's going to make it extremely difficult, if not impossible, for other Black people around the world to win. A lot of these Black people are looking to us to help them out of their situation. I know because I communicate with them every single day from around the world. I talk to Black people every single day. I communicate with Black people. They are describing to me their issues, and I'm telling them we have the same issues here. But collectively, we can deal with these issues and move our people forward. But it's going to take enough of us who are ready, willing, and able to do. And what we're saying via the Black Gold Nations, Black Church, and Black Organization Survival Summit, what we're saying via the Black Gold Nations Barber and Beauty Shop Alliance, we're saying that we can put ourselves in a position to win if we find the right people and enough of the right black people. There's nothing that can stop us if we decide to not be stopped. And I'm saying we're looking for black people who are ready to make the decision to not be stopped. Again, that snapshot that I read is the reality of what it means to be black in America. That reality is real, and it's a brief snapshot. You don't believe me? Do your own research. It's all there. Let me make sure I don't have any questions from anyone. Thank everybody for making it. Brother Ronald, thank you for making it. Brother Terry, thank you for making it. Brother Kazi, I appreciate you. Brother Chavon, let me know if you received the email, brother. I did send it. Brother Deshaun, thank you for being here. Brother Stephen, thank you for being here. Brother Richard, thank you. Brother Stephen says Cleveland guy. Oh, he's tagging some people. Thank you for tagging some people, Brother Stephen. I appreciate it. Sister Chaweri, she and I were members of the Shrines of the Black Madonna. Help raise my children. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful sister. Sister Aunt T, thank you for being here. Brother Sayum, also a member of the Shrines of the Black Madonna. Thank you. Sister Julia, my sister-in-law in South Carolina. Thank you. Brother Stephen is tagging people. Thank you for that, brother. I appreciate it. Brother Kazi says, I am suspicious of the statistics we receive from the system of those we support, those who support it to represent reality. Amen, brother. I can dig it, which is one of the reasons why we need to be connected with our people globally so that we can produce our own statistics, so that we can know the true numbers of who we are and what we're dealing with, so that we can act accordingly. I most certainly agree with that, brother. Thank you. Brother John, thank you for watching it. Brother Steven says, Sankofa 400. Not sure, I'm assuming that's still a tag. But Sister Akshita, one of our ambassadors in California, she says, we need the people to move the movement. Let's get moving. Amen. Oops, I went too far. You can go back. And she also says, give me a second to get back to that. I clicked the wrong thing and it jumped. She also says, oh, that's it. No, man. She also says, oh, she gives a website. Thank you, sister, for giving the website. Because we are not organized precisely. She's tagging people. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Brother Richard. Thank you for being a part. Sister Akshita says, exactly. We know the problem. We need to exact the appropriate solutions. We must take our power back to install and implement our power of proper authority as a nation. Amen. We are business partners who are in partnership to make the change. We need to be free from mental captivity as we heal. Amen. Sister Regina, thank you for being a part. Sister Akshita says, is this not what we have been speaking about? It's time to take action. Take a look in most communities around the country. We are losing our own land. Yes, we are. We are being pushed out of our communities and being made refugees on our own land. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. We are most certainly being gentrified across the board. We must form unity. Brother Keith from high school, thank you for making it. Brother Craig Lee, who is over our political strategy and planning department. Brother Craig Lee has given us a political model, a political solution, proven that he has implemented and instituted in Shreveport, Louisiana, that we're going to use to build power. That Tyler Perry video, that if you haven't seen it, let me know and I will send it to you, or you probably can go to YouTube and watch it. Brother Craig Lee, who is over our political strategy and planning department, has given us the model to produce that kind of community for Black people nationwide, which we are going to do in 2020. We are going to put our people in a position to own and control our environment, because we're going to build power for our people politically. And if we had your support, your involvement, and your buy-in, it would help us produce that model in more cities nationwide. Again, there's nothing that can stop us once we decide not to be stopped. We're not lacking intellectually, spiritually, physically, economically. All we lack is organization and connectivity. We're not even lacking in the solutions, because we have the leadership that know the solution, that's ready to train us on how to implement the solution. And the Black Gold Nation movement is doing that. Brother Kazi says, brother, nothing will make a complacent person more serious than a threat to their personal safety. You're right. As a people, we are not prepared for open warfare against the white supremacists. But once the revolutionaries among us are activated, there will be no turning back. That is the final move on the chessboard. Amen, brother. I agree. Sister Akshita says, no matter what you believe, no matter what your creed or religion, we're all part of the same melanated family. Amen. And we are worthy of the same rights to liberty and the pursuit of happiness. We can abolish the government system of corruption and begin to operate in sovereign diplomacy. That's the point, Sister Akshita, to create our own system, to do our own thing. But of course, you already know that because you're already an ambassador. We are nation building. Amen. Sister Nanyamka, thank you for being a part. Also a member of the Shrines of the Black Madonna. Sister Akshita is making a very good, valid points. Brother Derek, thank you for being a part. Brother DeWarren, I appreciate you being a part. The movement cannot move without the people. Amen. Brother Torrance, thank you for being a part. Brother Eric, appreciate you for being a part as well. Brother Lefty, long time no hear from Black Man. Thank you for being a part. And that is it. So thank you guys for being a part of the live broadcast. Please, please, please share this. We are trying to become more active on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. So if you haven't already liked us, thumbs up the video. Please do that as well. We absolutely must find a way to reach as many of our people as possible. If you want more information about the Black Gold Nation movement, go to our main website, blackgoldnation.com. Click on About, read the mission. If the mission confuses you, click on that link, Why We Must Build. Listen to the brief snapshot that I just gave. Click on that video, that link, Why We Must Build, and watch some videos, which gives evidence, information as to why we need to build our own stuff and do our own thing. If the mission makes sense to you, if you like it, you want to be a part of what we're doing, go to Black Gold Wakanda Rising, click on presentations, and RSVP for our introductory presentation that we do every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday night. It's free. It's online. 1 hour of your life could save your life and put you and your people and your family in a position to win, because we are serious about what we're doing. Worst case scenario, you watch the presentation, you don't like it, so you wasted an hour of your life. I apologize, but I guarantee you, if you care about Black people, if you love Black people, then you will not only appreciate the presentation, but you will become a part of the movement because the presentation just makes sense. If you want more information about the Survival Summit on the events website, Black Gold Wakanda Rising, click Survival Summit. Read what's there and pay attention to our community meeting webinars, because we'll be having more of them this week and more next week. We want to have in total 17 different webinars, and we've done our first 6. And we will be doing more, talking about what it means to be Black in America, our enemies, and what we need to be doing and why. I haven't updated the website about the alliance, but we'll be doing that today or tomorrow. So I'll give you more information. Just remember. There are 85,000 Black churches in America. Our barbershops and our beauty salons outnumber our churches 2 and 3 to 1, which means we have over 160,000 barbershops and beauty salons. If we can get half of that number, of course we want all of it, but if we can get half of that number, 80,000 barbershops and beauty salons to host an introductory presentation to the movement, and each barbershop has and beauty salon has 2, 3, 4, 5 people watching the presentation, then we create for ourselves an opportunity to reach, connect with, organize, and build a movement that has, in one night, in one event, hundreds of thousands new Black Gold ambassadors, hundreds of thousands new supporters, and more leadership persons to add to our national departments to create a stronger cabinet. We have 18 national departments in this organization, 2 of which that are international, and we need cabinet members to support each department head. If we have a person who's over agriculture with 20 years of experience, and via this event, we can have more Black people who understand agriculture to add to that, then we can have hundreds of years of experience via one department in one area. We want to do that in 18 of our national areas and 2 of our international areas, but we cannot do that if we can't reach our people. Every single thing we do in this movement is to reach the right Black person, to let them know that there are answers, there are solutions from Black people, concrete and proven, to put ourselves in a position to win. Again, that snapshot is not a joke. Everything that I read is real. We had a brother who's just been assassinated who testified in a murder case. We have the president calling for civil war, and people who've been training for a civil war answering that call. We have brother Tyler Perry giving us a concrete, real-life example of what's possible if we pool our resources and build our own communities. We are rolling out the Black Gold Nation movement. We're rolling out a political strategy that was going to put us in a position to own and control our environment, so that we can be in a position to ensure that in the towns and cities where the Black Gold Nation movement is active, our people are safe. Our institutions are under the right leadership. And we are reestablishing communities that have influence, value, and power. That's all about protecting the black mind, body, spirit, and psyche. And again, I see no one doing this the way that we are doing it. But we will never be successful in doing it if you don't join us and we don't have your support. So with that, thank you for being part of the live broadcast. Please share this with 5, 10, 15, 20 Black people, because I cannot do this on my own. You cannot do this on your own. No one Black organization can do this on its own. So we need one another. We have to come together under one unified umbrella, and that's what we're trying to do. Always remember 2 things. No one can do everything, but if everyone does something, everything will get done. And absolutely, always, always, always remember that nothing is more sacred than the liberation and salvation of Black people. With that, thank you guys very much for being a part. God bless you. Have a wonderful day, and hopefully I will see you soon on a presentation, a part of the Survival Summit, or a part of the Alliance as we build this connection nationwide of Black barbers, Black beauty salon owners, so that we can connect with our people in a manner that matters, so we can start building and pushing back against all the threats to the lives of our children, the lives of our women, our elders, and our brothers. Because again, no one is coming to save Black people, but everything we need, we already have, so we can save ourselves. Thank you very much. Have a great day. God bless. Bye-bye.